Welcome back to Combat Mission Shock Force 2, the Dutch and das Deutsch, where my Dutch are racing through the brush to the base of a very important hill in their CV-90s and YPRs. Meanwhile, some Dutch snipers and leopards are sitting in Overwatch in preparation of what will surely be a spicy NATO versus NATO match against Jackal's Germans. I played as the Dutch for the first time in Hapless's Concrete Hell campaign and really enjoyed the firepower of the CV-90 and Panzerschreck. So I decided to try them again in this rural meeting engagement. Jackal and I are playing mirrored matches on this map consecutively, and I will be releasing a video of both games. After rolling for map sides, I am playing my Dutch from the more open blue side in this first game. Let me start with a brief overview of the map. This is a modification of the Rural Hills Rough 316 meeting engagement map. Even if you have never played this map, it could look familiar to you from the 2020 Usually Hapless video Teufelshunde. This map is most notable because it is dominated by a giant hill that blocks and protects movement from the red player's setup zone. However, Jackal and I agreed to a significant change. We altered the hill so that the red player can move up the back side of the hill with infantry, but not vehicles. I thought this change would balance out the sides a little and allow for some better tactical options for red. We also added a minor objective on each side of the map to go along with the original 3 objectives. Although the big hill dominates the map, the rest of the map is far from flat, with lots of undulating terrain locations and a smattering of trees. For me, the planning came down to how can I control the middle objective. The red player has a quicker, covered approach to the middle objective, whereas the blue player has to cross this open lane, which will undoubtedly be covered by German Leopards, ATGMs, and autocannon. If the Dutch had thermal blocking artillery smoke, that would have been the best option to just block off the danger and move past that lane. But they don't have multispectral smoke. So I decided that clearing this pocket of German tanks and AFVs would be tasked to sneaky infantry with Panzerschrecks. The hope is to destroy the vehicles from these scattered trees and from this overlook, and then press across the lane with some IFVs and Leopards, while at the same time defending and destroying anything that tries to advance out of the valleys or over the hills with a strong overwatching force. My units that I'm selecting to accomplish this task are a mechanized infantry company with a mix of green and vet troops, supported by an on-map 81mm mortar section, and 2 platoons of veteran Leopards. And since these 4 Fennec motor vehicles come with 2 gills each, I decided I had to get a crack gill team, despite the rumors that gills are hopelessly broken in the game. I've never used a gill before, but I can't leave 8 expensive ATGM missiles in the Fennecs with no chance to use them. That would be way too wasteful. Looking at the map as the game starts, on the right we have 3rd Platoon. It is tasked with taking a holding position on the reverse slope of these hills to hopefully provide better vision to see any Germans that are in these trees along this ridge. On the left is 1st Platoon. It is tasked with controlling these woods and hopefully helping to destroy any vehicles poking out of the valley elbow, then eventually crossing this open ground and taking the middle objective. On the far left, a sniper team is going up this hill to get vision on the back side of the main hill and the valley elbow. Up on the hill is 2nd Platoon. It is the platoon with the best experience in leadership, and it has the task of pushing the top and left side of this hill. I need to control the left side of the hill so that I can run at least 1, but hopefully 2, Panzerschreck teams across this rocky terrain and attack down into the valley elbow, where I know Jackal will have some vehicles. And here are all my Overwatch locations, consisting of 9 Leopards, a gill, 3 mortars, and the sniper on the far left. All of my units get to their initial rush locations. While my Overwatch advantage makes it easy for me to take out a Wolf vehicle and 2 Martyrs in the opening minutes. A couple of other things to note during all of this. 1, the Gill fired and missed, exploding directly in front of the Martyr. Add one more anecdote to the complaints about the undermodeled performance of the Gill. 2, my veteran Leopard missed this Martyr, but the shell flew through the Martyr commander. I assume the remaining crew of that Martyr are not very happy about their current situation. As turn 4 starts, one of my YPRs that is hiding in some trees on the hill breaks a team of Germans trying to occupy the house in the center objective. So I'm feeling really good about the next part of my plan to take control of the hill. And that good feeling lasted another 15 seconds until Jackal's 105mm artillery starts falling with deadly effect. A cornerstone of my plan to take the middle objective was to hold enough of the left side of the big hill so that Panzerschreck teams can attack the valley elbow from above. I try to crawl some of the 2nd platoon out of the area of effect while trying to load a couple of teams into 2 IPRs. But the German artillery is on target. I suffer a number of casualties, including losing an entire crack sniper section in the 2nd platoon headquarters team. I do manage to get the 2nd platoon elite Panzerschreck team into the woods closest to the valley elbow, so that part of the plan is still viable. On the left, teams from 1st platoon spread out and start crawling. I know that the German AFVs sitting in the valley elbow will have excellent vision into these trees with their thermal sights, so I don't dare move faster than a crawl. My vehicles continue to successfully spot German infantry moving through the trees, this time on the far right. It is a priority to me to keep those trees free of Germans, so I do expend quite a bit of ammo area firing where I suspect more of Jackal's troops to be, even though the CV-90s and YPRs are quite ammo poor in combat mission. The CV-90's 35mm autocannon is especially effective, and I learn when the game ends that I actually eliminated an entire squad at this position. And while that is happening, I have a veteran team carefully moving right, staying under the crest of the ridge as much as possible. Their purpose is to get into position to run across the flat part of the right valley to contest the right objective. Combat mission is a fickle game. Sometimes the CM gods smile at you, like here when a German crewman gets spotted and sniped with a 120mm shell by a Leopard from 1,000 meters away. And sometimes the CM gods mock you, like on my left where my sniper team climbs to the peak of this ridge and then cannot see anything because, I don't know, a bush is in the way. Back to the right, my infantry teams resume their cautious advance toward the right valley. Getting spotted by NATO forces is usually fatal, which is why I'm paying close attention to staying behind the ridge lines while I'm advancing. But it's also why I want to get my infantry as far forward as possible. The trees on that far right crest still offer great concealment to Jackal's Germans, and he will later have 2 ATGM teams firing at my vehicles from those trees. On the bottom right, the team that will cross the open valley space gets to their final concealed position, while another team moves up the hill to look down into the valley. That team gets spotted by German infantry and goes to cover. Meanwhile, 2nd platoon in the middle of the big hill gets another blast of 105mm artillery causing more casualties to that already weakened platoon. Moving back to the middle, I had spotted a German doing some buddy aid. In CM, that is often a dangerous thing, and my crack mortar team that is 770 meters away drops an 81mm shell close enough to cause at least one more casualty. And then on the next turn, 35mm airburst from the CV-90 on the hill finishes the job. At the same time that was happening, Jackal was also advancing some German infantry along the ridge wall. They take casualties from my lookout infantry team and from an Overwatch Leopard. And then on the next turn, I run my infantry away because I'm moving up another CV-90, which finishes off that German team with a couple volleys of 35mm airburst. A few turns later, back on the right, I decided it's time to race the fire team across the valley floor and advance my hilltop team further towards the crest. The hilltop team gets spotted and suffers a casualty. But the team racing across the valley is able to stay behind cover and cross to the far side. And just as another example of how good NATO spotting is, an unseen martyr in the middle objective spots my infantry hiding in the high grass and takes out one of the soldiers with a quick blast of autocannon as the turn ends. Back to that German fire team firing on my team on the hill. I love having crack mortar teams in Overwatch. In CM, when they are positioned well, they are devastating to infantry. Moving back to the middle objective, one of my sneaking crack infantry finally spotted a martyr. They fire from 260 meters but miss, which didn't surprise me too much, since the martyr was hull down. But I had also sent a Leopard forward because I liked the Leopard versus Martyr matchup much better. The Leopard's first shot hits a tree. The Leopard's second shot hits a tree. The Leopard's third shot hits a tree. Finally, the forest clearing is complete, and the fourth shot hits a rock. The fifth shot from 290 meters finally takes out that pesky martyr. And that was the end of the game. Jackal didn't feel like he could make it out of the valley on either side, so he asked for a ceasefire. And after looking at his force selection on the endgame screen, I had to agree with him. He had a mech infantry force with 19 martyrs, but only one Leopard. I had 9 Leopards, mostly sitting in stationary Overwatch positions, and so his martyrs were functionally useless at this point in the game. Jackal did have quite a few ATGMs, and 2 of those did sneak into firing positions, which I will show now. The first fired from here across the map to a Leopard between these buildings here, but my Leopard spotted, fired, and killed the ATGM team before the missile could reach the target. The second ATGM team was located here and hit one of my Overwatch Leopards, which did some minor subsystem damage, but that team was immediately dispatched by the Leopards. This game ended in a draw. Jackal had 2 of the 3 major objectives. I lost 15 men, 9 from the 105mm artillery. Jackal lost 49 men. This battle was a lot of fun with small tactical choices that I really enjoy, even if it did not have the carnage and destruction that is also a lot of fun. But then we switched sides and played another battle on the same map. That battle has plenty of destruction, and I will be releasing a video of that a week from today. So as always, thanks for watching, and happy gaming.